Welcome in, everyone. This is the weekly reading. We're tapping into the energies for the week of April 13th here through the 19th. And this is a big week. I've been talking about it. And this is the week. So we have a few things here. We have the seven planet pile up in Aries. So that is called a stellium in astrology. There are 7 planets in one sign. And a stellium, there has to be at least 3 planets in a sign or more. So 7 planets in a sign is very rare. So this is going to be intense with that fire energy of Aries. We also have the new moon in Aries this week. And then at the end of the week, we'll have the sun moving into Taurus. So out of Aries and into Taurus. So on the 14th, that is when the 7th planet, Mercury, moves into Aries. And with that, oh, it's Jupiter. Jupiter is back here talking. So we have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and then the moon is also moving through Aries. So that's the 7 planets there. This starts on the 14th, like I said, when Mercury moves into Aries on the 14th, and it will go about 2 to 4 days. The moon moves really fast, so the moon will only be roughly there for about 2 days, and then we'll leave. So this is going to be very strong Aries energy, and then it'll stay kind of pretty heavy, but Mars will stay in Aries until about May 18th. And then Saturn and Neptune are going to be in Aries for long term, for years. So I guess simply put, the breakdown is April 14th through the 17th is the peak intensity. And then 18th through 19th, the energy will start kind of dissipating a bit. And then, after the 19th, there's still going to be heavy Aries energy, but not as, strong with all of those planets in Aries. So what does this bring? What does this mean energetically, and what do you need to be aware of? So the energy is going to be very strong. We're going to feel strong, high fire energy. So this involves a lot of action-oriented motivation, right? Wanting to take action. That's Aries. Wanting to take action, a lot of motivational energy, just strong, feeling energized. You want to make decisions and just feel the strong urge to want to do something, or to go, put energy to create, to go after something, to start initiating something. Again, strong initiation energy, strong, change energy, wanting to finally do something about your life, about a certain situation. There's going to be strong emotion, so there could be some reactivity there, and that's why we need to ground. I talked about this the last 2 weeks, about needing to really ground during this time period, because with all that fire energy, and then we also have air energy going on, we're going to be very ungrounded. So people are going to be very impulsive. There could be strong reactivity when we think of the detriment side of this. Short tempers, people speaking their truth. There's going to be a lot more people being blunt. They're not going to hold back what they're feeling or thinking. Definitely things that we've been holding, thoughts, feelings, emotions, frustrations, resentments, things that we've kind of just tolerated or put up with. A lot of people aren't going to be, okay with that anymore. So things are going to be coming out fast. Also expect things to happen quickly. Things could unexpectedly change. There could be surprises, spontaneity, things that just come out of nowhere, and the shifts are going to happen quickly. It's not going to be something that like, okay, I'm going to make this decision and let's do it slowly. People are going to be making decisions and just like making the change really quickly. This energy as well is about huge new beginnings. So that's again where I talk about things are going to happen fast. You're going to make decisions quickly. You're going to want to make changes in your life. Aries is about new starts. It's also on a positive is about courage and like authenticity and being your true self and putting your true self out there. So this, you know, there's a lot of clarity with Aries as well. So if you've been confused or sitting on the fence about something, that's going to probably change. You're already probably starting to feel it. You're not going to have the patience like you did before either. So even if it's small action, you're going to start doing it. And you're going to, if you feel like things have been stagnant, that's going to shift really, you know, quickly now. The planets, a lot of the outer planets have been in earth signs for a long time. And earth signs, even though they're great at grounding and, you know, very solid, you know, stable, things like that, what it can happen is the earth signs on a detriment, the earth energy can like resist change and kind of want us to stay as is and like hold us down a bit when we're trying to like, how do we move? How do we take action? How do we, you know, initiate things and move quicker? Earth is basically the slowest energy out of all the elements. So things have been very slow. A lot of people have been feeling like, especially the last 7 years, have been very stagnant. Slow growth, slow change. I'm feeling stuck. So this is going to be good. How do we work with this energy? Start something that maybe you've been putting off, even taking small steps forward. Be truly honest with yourself. Really like I said, be grounded. Take the time to really go within and understand what your truth is before you just are impulsive or react. This is a good time to help ground and to move the energy is to be active physically. Exercise, just do something active, walk. Letting go of anything that feels restrictive, that you know isn't working for you anymore. This is the time to make the change. This is very supportive, like I said, of this new beginning, initiation, forward movement. So this is the greatest time if you've been waiting to really, even if it's like end something or walk away from something or just, you know, do something different. This is that time. And acting on what's true for you. Okay. And watch again, because this can really push us to want to overdo it. So just watch yourself to not burn out or do too much at once. Just again, that groundedness will help you. All right, and then we have that Aries full moon. So I'm going to pull a couple Moonology cards just to kind of get the energy of the new moon, but also this stellium energy. So let's go ahead and get started here. If you haven't seen yet, all of the April videos have been posted for a couple weeks, but just a reminder, go check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and North Node videos, and that'll give you a good kind of more detail specifically for your sign. You know, the weeklies are more just collective for everybody. Yes, the zodiac individual readings are for, you know, it's not you independently, but if you're a Scorpio, let's say, right, it kind of hones in more on that smaller collective of people. All right, let's see here. All right, yeah, look at that vitality, the sun. So we have that strong fire energy coming out. And there's that, the sun represents, like, again, the self as well, who we are, shining shining our light of who we really are, right? And the sun is our happiness. And that is because when we are in alignment with who we really are, when we're in alignment with our truth, with our authenticity, and then making decisions off that, when we're going towards things that align with that, whether it's relationships, outward action, jobs, purpose, communicating that as well, saying no to things that aren't aligned with who we really are, that's where we find happiness. That's where we find fulfillment. And then leadership, ancient Egypt. Yes. So, I mean, Aries is a big sign for leadership. It kind of represents that. The Emperor in the tarot deck, is represented by Aries, which is the ultimate divine masculine of the deck. So the Emperor represents true leadership. And this here with Egypt to me is like divine leadership. This is, we're standing in our power, right? And we're leading based on the alignment with our authentic self, with our truth. And that is where we have the most power. And it's a power of, when we think of it, it's not power over. It's not power over. It's not that it's motivated by ego, or that we're better than, or that we want to overtake others, or based on fear. This is about power with ourselves, within ourselves, with others, within this reality. And that is where true wisdom lies. And that's where a true leader inspires people to follow them. They don't force people to follow them. They don't manipulate others and provide, false information. They don't try and control. Okay, this is about leading by example. That's a true leader, and inspiring. And that's where also right now we have a lot of the stargates and the big portals on the planet are open. We've reached a critical point in the ascension of the earth where the energies are streaming in strong, and we're taking advantage of that. All right, I'm going to pull some Moonology cards here. So we have look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sag. Step out of your comfort zone. Totally, that is Aries. And this is going to be huge. The universe is like pushing us, like we're standing at the cliff. And a lot of people have been literally standing there for years and years and just like, oh, I'm looking out at the potential here, but I'm too scared. I'm too afraid. The universe is going to start pushing people off the cliff. So if you've been stalling, if you've been dragging your feet on something that in your soul has been calling to you or telling you to do, even if it's like you've been stuck in a situation and your soul knows this isn't right for me. Okay, the old codependencies as well, those are being broken down. We cannot be in this codependent energy anymore, especially if you're ascending, if you're trying to expand into these higher timelines. You can't go into a higher timeline and still hold on to the things that are dense. Relationships, jobs, belief systems, all of these things. So this is that time, and then show the world the real you. More Aries. It does say Aquarius, but Aries and Aquarius can be similar in that, where it's a very independent energy, Aries and Aquarius. It's about being free. It's about liberation. It's about, who am I? I want to be myself. I want to be right. And I think where Aquarius is more collective view, Aries is more individual view, or the self. So this is about learning that I have to shift and I have to change myself before my external reality will shift and change. And that's where the leadership comes in. If you've been trying to force something in the physical to change that's not working for you, and you've been approaching it from your mindset, from the old human 3D sense of, I have to do this into reality, right? It's the old idea of I have to have a checklist, I have to have the goals, I have to put a lot of effort and time and work into this. Or maybe it's a relationship and you want someone to change, and it's like, I have to keep putting energy into, we have to change, we have to go to therapy, we have to, do all these things. That's not true leadership. And that's where the shift is happening, because it's when you start aligning your energy to the things you really want, that's when all of the things you really want is going to start coming in your physical. The other thing is, though, right, when that happens, a lot of things are going to fall away. But that's just because those are not aligned with your new frequency, so that the new things can come in. And so the more we try and resist that, the more we're creating challenge in our life, the more we're creating suffering. So let's keep going. And a lot of people have this belief that, well, if you hold on to the old because you think that's going to create less suffering for everybody. But in reality, that's actually creating more resistance, more suffering, more challenge. So if you want to follow the path of least resistance, you're going to let go and allow the natural process to unfold, which could mean these things could fall away. And the less you try and control what that unfolds like, those things, and maybe that's been a fear of yours, is that process of letting go, or the process of this change, you're afraid of how that's going to look, right? That you think it's going to be a long road of suffering. So it's easier to stay where you're at than to actually make the decisions to make the long-term change of like, yes, long-term, I see myself here and I think it'll be better. But going from A to whatever M, right? That's going to be it's almost like that road of suffering you think, right, you believe is going to happen, prevents you from doing that. But in reality, that's a distortion. So you're actually created this story of something that hasn't happened, and you can actually control that by letting go and also trusting. But the sooner you do it, you actually create an easier path, and that's the path of least resistance. So let's pull some more cards here and get some more info. Yeah, Five of Wands. Here's the path of resistance. Okay, this is conflict. This is challenge. These are, this is really about the external world and the ideas of conflict, that other people's ideas and perspectives are different than what you want or you think. I feel like this is more of the energy that you've been in. Here is this conflict. But I'm also picking up like this is the pattern, right? These are the patterns that we've ingrained in our causal body and our energy body and our belief systems, that like this is the norm, right? This is just how things always have been, and maybe we grew up in it, in environments like that. Even though we don't like it, on an unconscious level, that's all we know. Three of Pentacles. So this goes from like, we're quarreling, we have conflict here, we're not, especially that energy really slows things down. We don't make progress. But now the Three of Pentacles, it's like, okay, how can we physically work things out? Because the Three of Pentacles is about working together, others working together, teamwork. How do we actually apply our skills, apply our physical strengths, our ideas, and implement them in the physical reality and build something, right? Build something that's strong, that's successful. And this card too is about building a strong foundation. And the Star, yes. So this is the goal. This is our North Node here, or sorry, our Northern Star. This represents, the Northern Star is our guiding light. That is our higher self. And that is, if we're constantly following our North Star, and what does that mean? That means following our truth, following what our soul, our intuition is guiding us in every now moment. What is that highest excitement for us? What is that highest happiness, that highest pull? What are we being inspired by and following that? And that's where we're following that Northern Star all the time. Where we go astray is we stop following our intuition. We stop following those little hunches. We stop following things that are exciting for us. And we follow what? We follow our belief systems, right? We follow the voice of our parents, our society, our culture, we follow the things that we think other people want from us, or things that people expect on us. It's the programs we've been instilled with as children, or by this outer reality of, or it could be our fears, our traumas, because maybe we're always following the things that provide us a sense of connection or safety, but in reality, those things are actually what causes us the most suffering and challenge. So there's a lot of distortion here, but I like this. So we're moving, there's progress here. Here's the movement. We're going from conflict, and working through that towards healing, towards the things we really want. The Hermit, the King of Swords, and the Sun. Look at that, 2 suns. So if you haven't watched last week's reading, I would watch that as well, because literally between the tarot and the oracle cards I was using, I think there was like 3 or 4 sun cards that popped up. And now in this reading, there's 2 sun cards. So there's a big focus here on that fiery, like our inner light and our happiness and our in abundance here. The sun also represents abundance. So this energy we're in is what's bringing in the light for us and shining the light on the things that we really want. And then right here with the King of Swords, this is the clarity. This is the clarity that we're getting right now about what we really want. We're getting clarity about the dynamics, the beliefs, the patterns. I always talk about that. And you could be like, oh, she always says the same things. But I mean, it's because that is the core of what's happening. And those are the things that we're breaking down right now. And the Hermit. So this is the enlightenment. So this is us, that the light here, that the lantern the Hermit is carrying really represents spiritual enlightenment. That's the guiding light again. So we have the star, which is our northern star, and we also have the guiding light. So everything is about the light. It's about the divine. That is our compass. And that has we are born into this reality, and we are provided a compass, but it's within us. It's within the energy. And of course, we don't know that. And everyone most people are unconscious as well. And so we're not taught that. But as we go through life and learn more and become wiser and spiritually grow and our energy increases, we start to, that's why the Hermit's here. This is that enlightenment. We start to get it. We start to understand how everything works and how everything comes together. And this is also looking back at where we've been and gaining that wisdom, learning those lessons. And I just feel like there's something coming through where the light's finally being shined. It's like, the Hermit's connected to the Five of Wands and the King of Swords. So it's like there's the conflict, and now we're finally gaining clarity about that Five of Wands card. And there's a breakthrough here. So I'm also hearing this is the breakthrough of, like, to have a breakthrough is like we finally are getting something. We're getting the information. We finally get it. The puzzle pieces are coming together and we're getting clarity. We're seeing the truth. And we're like, oh, and that's where all of a sudden now we can pave and go in the direction. We have the star and the sun. Come on. Like, this is like, This is like we're going towards everything that we've wanted, but we've just been too unconscious to know how to follow that. Eight of Pentacles. So there's more. We got Three of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles. So this is about the work. So there could be a big shift about what we're going to start focusing on in regards to maybe our studies, what information we're trying to find, what methods, like what books, what types of information. But this card also represents work. So we could be really shifting how we're showing up in the world, aligning more with purpose. And we're shifting out of this whole concept of work, right? In quotes. I'm really shifting the old, when we hear the term work or a job, these are really aligned with the old reality, the old traditional ideas of how we show up in the world. But to me, this card represents, it's shifting out of a job, this is what I have to do to make a paycheck, to how do I want to express my energy, my true self in the world? What are the things that I align with? What are my passions? What do I love? And in response to putting that out into the world, into the 3D, that aligns you with your ultimate highest potential of abundance. Okay? And abundance can show up in many ways. And most of us think of abundance as money, as wealth. And that's a piece of the pie. But abundance comes in so many different ways. And this is where we finally understand that. We start to see that, right? That's the Hermit. We understand that abundance, it's not just about chasing wealth or money. We're finally opening up to the universe to provide full abundance. Okay? And the true meaning of abundance is, I got this from Bashar, the channel being that Daryl Anka channels, but, and I'm not saying it maybe exactly, but it's you get everything you need when you need it. So it's like everything is given to you exactly at the right time, at the right place, when you need it. So there's never like a moment of true like need or suffering or, strife. When you're in true alignment with the universal energy of abundance, things just come to you. It's like you turn on the true magnet that you are, and you just magnetize everything you need at the right time. All right, so we have the Three of Wands. So there's the expansion. This week is going to expand us a lot. And lastly, Ace of Wands. There's the card of this week. So the Wands energy is fire. So this is the Aries energy. So we start with some Wands, and then we end with Wands. But the Five of Wands is more of that. We're in resistance. Okay, we're in resistance with fire energy. This is the detriment of fire. But now, as we move through this week, the outcome here is we're in alignment with the fire energy. And this is where we understand how to use the fire energy to our advantage. And this is like harnessing the magic, right? And this is the passionate new beginning here. So we're expanding and we're allowing things to come in. This is the Three of Wands is just what I talked about, that metaphor of the magnet. The Three of Wands represents, like here he's, usually this, in this card in the tarot, it's a man standing on a cliff and he's looking out on the ocean, and in the distance are these ships coming in. And it kind of represents his treasures, his dreams, his desires are coming to him in the Three of Wands. And he's kind of already aligned with those intentions and those things, and now they're coming to him. So it's like finally, and in this card, the ship's really close. So it's like we're finally in alignment and we're magnetizing the things that we really want. We're magnetizing healing, happiness, fulfillment here. So all this energy is amazing. So I'll just get a couple clarifiers before we close out here. So let's see, what is this Five of Wands about? Oh yes, and look at that. Three of Swords flew out. So this is what has caused us all the heartache, is this conflict. And this could be inner conflict. It can represent the inner conflict that we've lived with. And the inner conflict is really always about our true self, our truth. The truth that we know from our soul level is in conflict with the mind. It's in conflict with the programs that we've been forced upon us, the templates forced upon us, the ideas and beliefs that are in conflict with our soul's truth. So that's where the anxiety lies. That's where the conflict is. So it really, to me, represents inner conflict, because the outer conflict that we face, whether in relationships or just whatever comes across our path that creates conflict, people that cause us, stress and difficulty, are all just a representation, a mirror of our inner conflict. And that's what's caused us a lot of heartache and pain throughout our life. And that's what we're awakening to. And that's what we're, yep. And it's really about the relationship we have with self, but also then the relationship we have with the outer world, which includes relationships. So we're coming into harmony here. We're coming into balance. So again, with all this astrology happening, yes, it's a lot of fire energy and air, but the cups represents emotion. So all of it is, we have to look at it holistically, right? Like it all comes together to create harmony. And so this is also what's happening with the fire energy, is helping us on an emotional standpoint. What's the Three of Pentacles about? The Moon. Yeah, we're doing the work. We're going deep here. The Moon represents our unconscious, the layers upon layers of who we are from a existential sense, from a divine sense, our soul, our unconscious, the fears, the dreams, the stored, trauma, whatever it is. This is the stuff that's hidden. Okay, so to me too, the foundation of what we lived our life on was really based on the hidden stuff. The stuff that we didn't realize was running the show and built the foundation. And now we're healing. We're doing a lot of healing work. We're healing these layers upon layers here. And we're doing it in a way in the physical world. We're actually tangibly doing the work, right? And we're also not afraid to put ourselves out there. All of us, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the fears, the trauma we went through. And we're seeing it clearly now. We're seeing all the layers with the King of Swords, that clarity. And then what's the Hermit and the Eight of Pentacles? Queen of Cups. More emotions here. We're diving deep into our feelings. King of Pentacles. So this could really come up. There's something here to me with the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. Cups. So how this could manifest out for you this week, this energy, it could come up within our relationships, which most of the time it does. So there's a little bit of like needing to do some work here in some sort of relationship or connection. Because someone's very in their emotions, leading with their emotions. And then we have the King of Pentacles, who's leading more in the sense of the physical world, money, job, what life looks like. So this person's focused too much on the external. And I think there's something where there might need to be some work here to really come together on a different level, right? We're going, people who are too focused externally, right? There's usually an imbalance internally. And from a relational standpoint, we really need to go more deep, from a more, deeper level here. And I think it's going to ask people to go deeper. Okay, we have the moon. We have this about the work, doing some work in relationship here. The hermit is the spiritual enlightenment energy. So in the past, maybe that's what's created all the conflict too. So for some of you, this could be, hitting the nail on the head with a relationship. This is what's caused the conflict, is because we have two individuals coming together who are too focused on completely different things. Someone who's too externally focused and not able to go internal. And then the Queen of Cups is really very internal. Three of Wands, King of Wands. So there's more wands. There's that passion again, that courage, that confidence. This is aligning again. Energy of alignment with the things we really want and making it happen. And this card just kind of popped out, so I'm taking it because it's the Fool. Yep, this is a new path. And this week, all of this stuff that's happening and the alignments are helping us align with the new path. And this is the new beginning that's opening up. So we have to be open this week. Go with the flow, surrender to whatever comes. Be pliable to change, right? This energy is about change. So we have to be open to it and willing to change. Whether it's, something really crosses our path that we can't, we have to change, maybe our job's going away or relationship's going away or something like that. But this can also reflect internally about needing to change how we show up for ourselves and others. Where are we blocking our emotions? Where are we not emotionally available and expressing our emotions and our truth? And open to really expressing love, expressing sadness, grief, whatever comes up. All right, so this is going to be an interesting week. We are in a time in this reality of every week's interesting because so much is happening energetically. So let me know how this is showing up for you. I'm also, like I said, 2026, I've been shifting my channel. I've been doing channeled messages. I have kind of a backlog of channel messages that I need to get out. To be honest, to put out a channeled message, it takes me a lot of time. It's a lot more time to do the editing and just bringing everything together to have a complete video for you. But I know I need to do that because these are very important times. Also, I'm kind of opening up if you guys have any questions just about anything, about, questions you want to ask higher dimensional beings that I can ask during channels and get answers for you. Let me know if there's anything on your mind about what's happening with the shifts, or what you can do, whatever it is, whatever's on your heart or mind or soul. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining in. Again, it always helps if you just click that like button and subscribe, definitely, and join the Soul Tribe here and continue to get the support. And I'm tuning in to the collective here of all of you to kind of see, how I can tune in and shift what I'm putting out there as well. So thank you all. Have a good week ahead. Again, ground. Don't be too reactive. Don't get pulled in, right? Because everyone's going to be on this high, this fire energy. So definitely just look at everything objectively right now. All right, all. Have a good rest of your day and week. Talk to you soon.